Hey guys, welcome back to News to Astonish, where we discuss comics, movies, games, and more. Got some more news today for you guys, and this time it's about Ant-Man 3. This one is really interesting. It looks like Kang the Conqueror is going to be joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe and will debut in Ant-Man 3, apparently. So far, I think it's mostly a rumor. It's really interesting, and I can't wait to talk about it because Kang the Conqueror is one of the most complex villains in comics in general because there are so many versions of that character, and he's a really major Avengers villain. So before I get into all of that, guys, first off, I just want to say that about 44.3% of you are not subscribed who watch my videos, and I got 55.7 subscribers who watch my videos. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. I upload videos on a daily basis. I also do live streams about 5 nights a week, starting between 8:30 to 9 p.m. Eastern time in the United States. If there's any issues, like I did actually have recently where I was having internet issues and I couldn't live stream, I usually update my status and keep you posted about my live streaming situation. And aside from that, yeah, go ahead and click on subscribe, guys. I would greatly appreciate it if you do. Again, there's a lot of content, so you'll never be deprived of the content because there's literally hundreds of hours on my channels that you can go ahead and watch. And go ahead and join my Discord. The invitation link is down in the description box below. There's plenty of cool people to talk to there. We have a lot in common. We talk about geek culture, games. You can even rant, even submit feedback if you want, and you can even talk to me. I'd like to hear from you guys. But aside from that, moving on with the topic, and we're gonna go ahead and talk about Jonathan Majors, who has been cast as Kang the Conqueror. So again, if you don't know, Kang the Conqueror is a villain appearing as an Avengers villain. He's had several confrontations with the Avengers in the comics. He first appeared in Avengers number 8, and now he's going to be debuting in Ant-Man number 3. So again, this is really exciting. Can't wait to talk about it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and discuss and then read the article now, and then we can talk about, about his character afterwards. We can even speculate about why he's going to be showing up in Ant-Man 3. And I think it looks like he might be like the major villain for the Avengers in the next phase. So there's definitely a lot to discuss. There's definitely a lot of room for discussion and a lot of room for speculation. But anyways, sorry about that. I didn't want to go ahead and prattle along. So let's go ahead and read the article. So Jonathan Majors as cast as Kang the Conqueror in Ant-Man 3. It's been a good summer for Jonathan Majors, the star of HBO's Lovecraft Country and Netflix The Five Bloods. Now, according to Deadline, Majors is set to join this Marvel Cinematic Universe in Ant-Man 3 as Kang the Conqueror. The report also notes that there could be a twist with how the character is featured in future films, but as of now, he is likely to be one of the main villains in the next installment in the franchise. Within Marvel's comic book universe, Kang is a warlord from the far future who came back in time to challenge the Avengers. He went on to become one of the Avengers' greatest recurring foes. Kang is also the younger incarnation of the Immortus and another Avengers villain from the future. The rivalry between Kang and Immortus has also led them to occasionally side with the Avengers over each other. Kang is one of the characters who returned to Marvel through the Disney and Fox merger. Prior to that, Kang fell under the Fantastic Four rights because of the distant relationship with Reed Richards' father, Nathaniel. Kang has even used Nathaniel Richards' name as his own. Given the more comedic slant of Ant-Man films, it's possible that the MCU's Kang will not be as serious as his comic book counterpart. However, Kang's potential connection to the quantum realm may merit his introduction in the sequel, with an eye toward a larger role down the road. Peyton Reed will return to direct Ant-Man 3 from a script by Jeff Loveness. Paul Rudd and Evangeline Lilly will also return for the sequel. I only have a couple of concerns when they address how they're not going to be taking Kang the Conqueror too serious when he's an incredible major villain. A villain that keeps recurring and keeps having confrontations with the Avengers. This guy has a major backstory, and I think his story needs to play out within a few films within the next phase. So having him introduced in Ant-Man 3 does make sense, being that time travel is tied in with Ant-Man, especially since that was like the major plot to the last Avengers films, especially Avengers Endgame, where Ant-Man basically, Scott utilized the time machine to go back in time and collect the stones. And I'm pretty sure these events have caught the attention of Kang the Conqueror. And again, he's had several different like roles. He's even played a hero back in the day where he was Immortus, and he was also the Red Centurion. Again, very complex villain. He even went back in time on Earth 616 back in like Egypt, where he played a pharaoh, and he took on the guise of a pharaoh. He played what was his name? Something Tut, and I can't recall. My apologies. But on his official, if you go to his official Wikipedia page, it tells you who he is. The character is frequently depicted as an opponent of the Avengers, so he'd be definitely a great opponent for the Avengers films in the next several Avengers installments, if they were to come out in the next phase. And there's been several alternate versions of Kang who appeared through the Marvel titles over the years, including his respective future and past heroic selves, Immortus and Iron Lad. In 2009, Kang was ranked as 65th greatest comic villain of all time. Well, you don't really need to know that, but he took on the guise of Nathaniel Richards, Reed Richards' father, Pharaoh Rama Tut, and Scarlet Centurion. I said Red Centurion earlier. My apologies. I meant Scarlet Centurion. He kind of looks like Iron Man, but he's really red all over. If you even watched Iron Man 2, where Tony Stark had that briefcase, he basically had that briefcase meld all over his body, like mold all over his body, like just manifest, like a suit just manifested out of that briefcase and just wrapped all over his body. It looks incredibly similar to the Scarlet Centurion from the comics, but that was a bit of an Easter egg. And I think with Kang the Conqueror joining the Marvel Cinematic Universe provides an opportunity for Reed Richards / the Fantastic Four to be introduced or even referenced, because if he's going to be going under the guise of Nathaniel Richards, when Kang the Conqueror is introduced to the MCU, he may want to go under a guise as Nathaniel Richards. And then that might catch the attention of Reed Richards and the Fantastic Four, and then in comes the Fantastic Four. Maybe they can make an appearance or a cameo appearance in a post-credit scene, but that's just my theory. This opens the doors for a lot of opportunities, especially the Fantastic Four, because the Kang the Conqueror has been really associated with the Fantastic Four as a recurring villain, and has been definitely a villain for the Avengers several times, of which he's been defeated every time he's had a confrontation with the Avengers. So this is pretty exciting. Jonathan Majors, being casted as Kang the Conqueror, especially coming from shows like The Five Bloods, where sadly Chadwick Boseman was casted in that show, and sadly he passed away due to cancer. And he's come from like top billing TV series, and I'm pretty happy for him, and I can't wait to see what they do with the character. Again, because the way the Marvel Cinematic Universe handles the Ant-Man property, I am a little concerned that they won't take the Kang the Conqueror character too seriously, because like I mentioned earlier in this video, Kang the Conqueror is a very, very complex villain, and he definitely has a lot of backstory. So for the sake of avoiding like confusion, I'm pretty sure they're going to simplify his backstory. Maybe they'll do like a short opening, like a brief explanation, an exposition kind of thing. I don't like expositions. I'm not a fan of those, but I'm thinking at the opening of the Ant-Man 3, we'll probably see Kang the Conqueror at the opening of that film, and they'll probably do like a brief backstory, a little bit of exposition to like explain this character, probably like simplify it for the general audience, because the general audience aren't really comic book readers. Only some people in the general audience are comic book readers. But if you really want to look up and read upon Kang the Conqueror, I suggest you read a lot of comics, especially if you want to get introduced to the character. Pick up Avengers number 8. Obviously one of the first 8 issues of the Avengers. Kang the Conqueror makes an appearance rather quickly. And pick up Fantastic Four number 18 or 19, I can't recall, because he was also a recurring villain from the Fantastic Four. Definitely a lot of time travel elements, because Kang the Conqueror ultimately is a time traveling entity, and with the events of Avengers Endgame, it's the perfect opportunity to tie in Kang the Conqueror. I'm pretty sure those events would have caught his attention by then. He would time travel to the past, which is where Avengers Endgame would take place. So definitely he's from a distant future, and his story is so cool. I mean, I'm sorry if I'm geeking out on you, but he comes from an Earth where there was no dark times, and specifically Earth 1163, I believe. So he has a very, very expansive backstory. He's a really cool villain, definitely check it out if you have a chance. Read upon his history if you want. If not, read a few of the comics where he makes a major appearance and he plays a villain in those comics. But aside from that, guys, what do you think about Jonathan Majors joining in and the cast of Ant-Man 3? How much of an integral role will Kang the Conqueror play in Ant-Man 3? You let me know down below, guys. Comment down, and I'll see you next time. Be sure to like, subscribe, click on bell notifications so y'all don't miss anything. Join my Discord. The invitation link to that is in the description box below. And as always, I will see you all in the next video.